I was warming up.
Okay, welcome to Take a Timeout with Dustin Sullivan, a production of the Can Do Group. Can Do Group is a 501c3 nonprofit provider of services for adults with developmental disabilities and is pleased to bring you this podcast. Today, Dustin's guest is Coach Drew Bostic. Welcome to Dustin's podcast. Are you ready now, Dustin?
Yeah. Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Van Loo, Ohio, the big city.
Van Loo's a good place.
Yeah.
Great meat
Little
place.
place.
Yep.
They got D&H meat there.
Yep, lay up all kinds of good meats.
What sports did you play as a kid?
As a kid, I played football. I played soccer. The soccer career didn't last very long. That lasted probably until I was about 6. I played baseball and basketball.
So which one of the three did you think was the toughest?
Well, if you had asked my mom, who had to hold my hand on the soccer field when I was 6 years old, I would probably say that. But the toughest sport that I felt like I played was baseball. Yeah.
I thought so.
Yeah.
Who inspired you most to be who you are today?
Who inspired me most to be who I am today? That would be my great-grandfather. He was a farmer from the Van Loo area. His name was Allie Graves, and he farmed until he was 82 years old, and he passed away when he was 84. So just his hard work and determination to just keep going over the years, which really inspired me.
That's a good answer. Where did you get your love of baseball?
My love of baseball, that started when I was in T-ball, and obviously then it's kind of you're just in the outfield picking grass and hanging out with your friends and throwing dirt in the air. But as I got older, my parents would take me up to Old Tiger Stadium, and we'd watch Lou Whitaker and Alan Trammell play up there and had a lot of fun. And then at Van Loo, it's a small town, so we took a lot of pride in those, county championships that we would win in Pony League, and then played on a lot of different travel baseball teams. And actually, my parents knew a professional pitcher from the Tigers, Jose Lima.
I remember him.
Do you? Yeah. So I had a lot of personal time, a lot of experience up there with him, and then my love just continued to grow from playing, and then playing travel ball, and then
actually we have that as your favorite team is the Detroit Tigers, right?
It is. Yeah, I take a lot of pushback here.
So
in
who
Ohio.
would be your favorite player? Would it be the one that you know personally, or is there another player?
My favorite Tiger was actually Magglio Ordonez.
I remember him.
Remember him?
Ordonez.
Ordonez, yep. And he was my favorite player because he always wore his pants pockets out, and he had real long hair, and we would go up to the games, and they would have Magglio Ordonez night, and you'd get a hat, and it would have the long black curly hair coming out of the back of his hat.
But why would he wear his pockets out?
I have no idea. So when I was in Pony League, I always wore my 2 pockets out and always wanted to swing like him. So
yeah.
I love the Tiger Stadium in the old one.
Yeah.
It was great.
Have you been to the new Comerica?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice.
My uncle was a big Tigers fan.
Really?
Big Al Kaline fan.
Yep.
What is your favorite thing about baseball?
My favorite thing about baseball. Oh man, how do I pick one? I just think the dynamic of the sport, from a coaching standpoint and from playing, it's just so complex, and there's so many different things that you have to factor in when you're doing your lineup cards, throughout the week, and so many different situations that come into play. And my biggest, I tell a lot of my players, you have a guy that's standing 60 feet 6 inches from you, he has a chance, and you're here 60 feet 6 inches from him, and you have a chance. He's got to throw it, you got to hit it. And so, just overall, there's so many moving parts with the game of baseball, and you really have to manage it, certain ways from a coaching standpoint and from a player standpoint. And the best thing about baseball is, you can fail 70% of the time and be in the Hall of Fame. Yeah. So, what other sport can you fail that much? You've really got to learn. I think it's a good life lesson in baseball is, you've got to learn how to fail to succeed.
I learned a lot more last spring with Thomas playing. I wasn't really a baseball person, and then I was like, oh wow, there's a lot into how you push people through the bases and everything.
Well, I didn't have to push Tom very much.
Yeah,
the game sped up quite a bit when he was on the base.
He's a good stealer of bases too. Yeah.
And it's a good family thing too.
Mm-hmm.
You are married and have children. How many children do you have?
I currently have 3. I have one son who just turned 6. I have a daughter, Penelope, who is 1.5, and I have another daughter, Sawyer, who will be turning 1 this year. and then we have another one actually on the way due in
Oh,
October. So
okay.
we're moving towards 4. We're trying to build a baseball team, but we've got more girls than boys right now.
Well, that question leads into this question right here because we know something.
There is something interesting about your son's initials. Tell us more about that.
Yep. So we named Maverick, Maverick Lynn Bostic, and we named his middle name is actually after my wife's father. And my wife, I told her that she could pick his first name and middle initial as long as my first son's initials matched up to be MLB.
MLB.
So a lot of people do ask us all the time, did you do that on purpose? Yes, we 100% did. So.
But she chose the name.
She did, yep.
Okay.
And I went along. And my favorite basketball team is the Dallas Mavericks.
That makes sense.
So that way, everything kind of just flew together here.
Yeah.
He had the same name as a movie too, Top Gun Maverick.
Yep. And I just watched the second one with him actually about a month ago.
It's a good one.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I think I like it better than the first.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
A lot of people say that.
Yeah.
I think there was a sports player named Maverick
Yeah,
for some reason.
probably.
What do you do? What do you do when you are not coaching?
Well, I don't know when that is. I coach varsity baseball, and then I coach Legion baseball, and then I coach my son's t-ball team. I coach his soccer team, and I coach 2 junior high basketball teams at the school. So there's not a lot of time away from coaching. My wife's the junior high cheerleading advisor and the competition advisor at Riverdale too. So there's not a lot of downtime, to be honest, away from sports. But we love spending time with our kids. We try to go to Disney. We're annual pass holders, so we try to go to Disney.
Oh my goodness.
2-3 times
cool.
a year.
An annual pass holder all the way in Ohio.
In Ohio, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, I'm 31 and I've been there 42 times.
Oh my gosh.
So we try to go to Disney quite a bit.
Did you ever know that I worked there?
Did you really?
Yeah.
I did not.
Yeah. I worked at Disney World. I was first in the market research department.
Okay.
And then I ended up in the guest relations kind of area, but I ultimately was in the design and engineering department.
Okay,
so.
there's a lot going on.
Yeah. So I was behind the scenes,
Yeah.
the backstage area, so of a cast member.
You're actually not that much old. You're only a year older than I am.
Really?
Yeah.
A lot of people don't think I look 30.
I don't think you do either.
Some people just age good.
It's a good thing.
He just had his
Right.
birthday.
Did you? Happy
Yeah,
birthday. The big 30, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did you become a coach for Riverdale School athletics?
Well, from a baseball side of things, my mother teaches over there, so I was asked to be the assistant baseball coach in 2018, and then I took the team over about 3/4 of the way through that season. And then I was in the office one day, and the superintendent and the athletic director, we were about a week out from not having a junior high boys basketball coach. So I was in the office at the time, and they asked me if I wanted to do that too. So I took over 7th and 8th grade basketball, and I've done that. That was my 5th year doing it.
Pretty
so
cool.
Yeah, I really enjoy it. 30-some kids there.
You just answered our second question. There was about how did you become the coach for the basketball team too.
That's how I was in the office turning in something for baseball, and they were talking about needing a coach, and we were a week out from practice, so
You're like,
signed up.
I guess I could.
Yeah.
Sadly, we lost a great man. You worked closely with Coach Wes Davis in 2021. What was Wes Davis's catchphrase?
He had a few. Game on, Wayne. At the end of, or at the beginning of games, he would always state. There was a lot of wise things that Coach Davis said. But the man in the glass quote that we have posted down there in the dugout and in our programs was obviously his favorite poem that he read to the kids, every year, and we posted it actually throughout the school, and it's a very influencing poem, I guess you can call it.
It's on the fence or something, isn't it?
Yeah, we had a sign put up in the dugout. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you guys dedicated the scoreboard or something.
We did.
To him?
Yep. For his funeral arrangements, they did. The family did. You had the option of where you wanted anything sent to, and a lot of people donated to the baseball program, and we raised almost the full amount of what we needed for the scoreboard, and then people just donated for the rest of it, and we ended up putting that up, and it's beautiful. It's got his in memory of Wes Davis at the top. And
That's very cool.
Yeah.
It was pretty neat, just the whole funeral being on the field too.
Mm-hmm.
That was cool.
Yeah, but to name one quote, his catchphrase, there was quite a
lot
few.
of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Life's too short. It's too short.
Yeah.
Enjoy it in the fullest.
Yeah.
What kind of influence did Wes have on you?
On me personally, a lot. On the back of his 5K T-shirts that we did, or not that we did, but the school did. There was a quote on there too that to leave the world a better place than it was. When you entered it and basically done your job. So with our program, that's one thing that we've tried to instill, not just with the baseball program to leave it in a better place when you leave, but life as well. And he was just very positive towards the kids, but when times got tough, he was tough on them too. But same with me. He was always very open and honest with a lot of different things. I've had to learn real quick how to use certain tools in the dugout, because Wes did a lot of the mechanical things, or I've had to hire the right people, because that was just stuff that he would do. And I think the biggest thing with Coach Davis was he was a volunteer assistant for me. But he was obviously the head coach at one time, and he was,
how'd that switch happen?
I think it was 2010 was when he stepped down from being a head coach, and then he just continued to be an assistant coach for years after.
He just wanted you to take over?
There was years in between.
Okay.
So there was a couple other coaches in between there. Pease was there, and then Bosselman was there as well, and then he stayed on board. It was funny, he came to me when I took over, and he asked if I would still have him, and I asked him if he would still have me, because he had been there for 20-some years.
Right.
I said, you don't need to be asking me that, I'll ask you. But with Wes, it was just, there's a lot of people in life that, you don't really know how much they do until they're gone, right? I mean, there was just so much stuff that Wes did that I don't think a lot of people knew, not just from a baseball standpoint, but from the forest community, with all kinds of different organizations, the stuff that he founded with the youth program over there. I mean, we all were 3 different communities that had baseball teams, and Wes formed that on his own to be Riverdale Youth Baseball, and did it pretty much on his own for a number of years.
He was doing something with people in the area, sort of thing, that were special in sports and all that, like a Hall of Fame sort of thing too.
Yep, he did the Hall of Fame over there as well, and you should just see the boxes that Chris, his wife, has given me to kind of sort through, and I mean, there's all kinds of cool stuff that I have no idea how he had time. I don't think he made time.
Right.
They say all those Hall of Fame ceremony things are kind of cool.
Yeah.
All the things they do.
Yes.
What is your favorite memory of Coach Davis?
Have any good, funny, fun memories?
Is this going to be aired?
Maybe something with the players or something.
I mean, personally, with when I was hired to be the head coach, that saying that I told you, with him asking if if I would have him on a team. I mean, it was funny. He came over to my house a couple weeks after that, and we just sat and talked baseball. And probably from a personal standpoint, Wes was always there. Chris would always tell me during baseball season, Drew and Wes would be on the phone at 7:30 in the morning driving to work, and in the dugout or on the phone until 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night, just going through different strategies and matchups for the next day. And just he was always consistently there for me personally, not only just with baseball, but came over and helped me remodel my bathroom when obviously I couldn't figure it out, and
that's so cool.
Just all kinds of stuff. And he treated every kid with so much passion and so many, and just instilled so many good life lessons through them, not just with baseball but with life. So I mean, overall, the biggest memories are just the way he presented himself. And there's on our Facebook page, after we won our sectional in 2018, Wes is in the corner, and we're getting ready to shake Arlington's hand after we just won the sectional tournament, and Wes says, be men. which is just something that he just instilled in them to be good young men, and overall. I mean, I could go down the list of all kinds of different stories with you. I could probably spend an hour, but just
something
stuff
so
like
simple but so powerful.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty
And it was
good.
called on video, which is awesome.
That is really
He sounds
cool.
like a great man.
Yeah.
I wish I would have been able to meet him.
Yeah,
I would have been honored to meet him.
Yeah, he would have loved you. He would love to do something like this too.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
How did the team meal idea get started?
The team meal. I don't know how often they did that in the past, but the coaches and I, we love to eat. Obviously, the kids do too. So we started cooking at my house in Van Leeuwen. The kids would drive over, and then we started. We mixed it. We did some at the field, but that was really the first full year that I took over in 2019. We started doing that once a week, and then on Saturdays we cooked breakfast for them and just bond a little bit. Some weeks are really long with practices, or some weeks we have 5-6 games. So just taking a break and getting back to just being kids and being one family.
Right.
Like, what was like the signature thing you guys made that they all loved the most?
I'm not sure there's anything that I make that they do love. They critique me quite a bit, but I can tell you
some fancy things.
I can tell you the one. I think the fish fry is probably the biggest thing that they like doing. We've tried it a few different ways. We tried on the blacktop over there.
Yeah, well, Ben was just saying something about some mushroom Swiss.
Oh, we just made mushroom Swiss burgers and homemade chili cheese fries I made for him the other night. But the funniest team meal was when we were at my house and I made them spaghetti.
Yeah.
And these kids eat a ton, obviously, and so we're sitting there and I put all this spaghetti. This is the first year that we did put all this spaghetti in one pot, and it just absolutely burnt.
Oh no!
Terribly. So the kids are trying to pick through all the burnt pieces of spaghetti and throwing them out, and we ended up going up to the family marathon.
We don't think this is a good idea. This whole team bonding thing.
But the fish fry is the biggest thing I think they like, and then we have Falcon's Blue Juice, which is just a Polar Blast Hawaiian Punch. So if we don't have that with team meal, we usually don't eat. So boys got to pick that up. Somewhere.
You look like you're good at cooking.
I don't know if my wife would say that, but as long as I can make grilled ham and cheese for the kids or burgers and fries, we're usually all okay.
Yeah.
If you wanted to ask.
Yeah. What is your pregame routine?
Personally, or for our team?
The team.
Personally, our team.
The team. Well, if it's a home game, we get down at the field right after school, and we'll take batting practice. We listen to music, obviously, before the games. The kids' choice of music, really, a lot of them don't. It's not my old school, Wes Davis music that we listen to throughout the game. But the kids have fun. They stay loose. They'll play some games as well. But we try to stay loose and don't make today any bigger than what it is,
Yeah.
But throughout warm-ups, we try to get our pitchers, going on time with the catchers, and then we'll obviously, take infield prior to that, and then we'll go down and pray down the left field line, and then we'll take our infield, and then we'll watch the other team take their infield too,
cool.
And then it's ready to roll. Star Spangled Banner, see who's throwing out the first pitch, and it's game on, Wayne.
So what's your pregame routine if you had one?
My pregame routine is trying not to mess the lineup card up.
Yeah.
Making sure I write the right numbers in the certain.
Right.
Making sure everybody's got everything they got. We run a concession stand down there, so I'm usually trying to make sure the concession stand's all ready to go for my family, to make sure that everybody gets what they need. But this is the hectic time right now. We're handing stuff out for our Diamond Club fundraiser we do. So there's a lot going on in the early season in pregame.
It's kind of hard to probably not want to eat all that food because it smells so good.
Yes, my 6-year-old son. I don't know how much. I definitely don't know how much money I make coaching, because a lot of it goes to the concession stand for my kids eating.
Yeah. Which leads to another question.
What is your favorite food?
My favorite food?
Yeah.
During baseball games?
Or just
anything in
Anytime.
general.
My favorite food's meatloaf.
Meatloaf.
Yep, homemade meatloaf. Yep, we make it quite a bit.
I love meatloaf.
Yeah. From a pregame, or from a baseball standpoint, we eat a ton of peanuts. I buy them a bag of peanuts for every game from Menards, one of the big 5-pound salted bags, and then hot dogs. I'm the same way with Coach Davis. After the game, I like my water warm and my hot dog cold. That's the way he always did.
Joke with Thomas's grandfather that he always has a hot dog on him.
Really?
He actually pulls him out of his pocket and says, "Do you want a hot dog?" We're like, "Where'd that come from?"
Speaking of food, what's your favorite restaurant?
Ooh, my favorite restaurant. Well,
He's a food connoisseur when it's not
Yeah.
sports.
I really like Cheddar's, but I'm a big seafood guy. So in Finley, I try to go to Red Lobster as much as I can, especially on endless shrimp. I try to get in there as much as I can on Monday. So
Skyline Chili is my favorite.
I love Skyline Chili as well. I like to go to Gold Star when we're down with our family in Kentucky.
And I kinda
but
like-
it's not as good as Skyline. I agree.
And I like going down to Detroit when you go to game. They've got that good chicken place across the street. Like it's like a
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I don't know what it's called, but I know what you're talking about.
yeah.
Right up there by Jolly.
He couldn't
or Johnny
remember
Rockets.
either, but he knows there's a good chicken place across the street.
Yep.
What other things do you do for team building?
Team building. Well, like I said, we do team meals. We include our kids in a lot. We ask our kids obviously over at Riverdale. So a lot of them start as freshmen, so we send them through a lot of stuff early. We really, especially with this year's team, we have a lot of juniors who have started since they've been freshmen. So we really try to send those juniors off as much as we can, and our senior as well with Carson. To just, try to not only teach them the game, but just to bond,
That's a good time.
We give them Sundays off. Saturdays we sometimes practice, so Sunday's kind of their day, but I'll usually text them, about something. But we've done March Madness pools with them. We have them compete with the Diamond Club fundraiser. Sometimes I'll send them to scout teams if I give them the night off, and us coaches are going to scout somebody, we'll send them
Oh, that's cool.
to scout some other teams
really
too.
cool.
And we just
Yeah.
try to keep them involved in a lot of different stuff throughout
that is cool.
We did a
area.
bracket March Madness.
How'd you do? You got
Not
them both
very
still
good.
in there? No, I don't either.
Oh.
Some here picked San Diego State.
Yeah, we have one client. I did about 16 or 17 doing the March Madness brackets.
Really?
And one, he picked San Diego State to win the whole thing. And the whole time we're like, yeah, okay. We're like rolling our eyes because, they were just picking random things and stuff. And all the rest of his bracket is a mess. But that first, like the South Pool of teams, he only missed 2 through the
Really?
whole thing. Yes. And
That's impressive.
he had even obviously Creighton going against San Diego and all of that. And then he obviously didn't have all the rest of what teams they were going against or anything, but he's still alive with San Diego.
That's awesome.
And they've won, by 1 point the last
They're
2
one away,
games. And so
I lost right away. I took Purdue.
Did you?
Actually, that leads to our trivia question of the week.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
So today, UConn and San Diego State will play for the NCAA Men's Basketball National Championship. UConn has been to 7 Final Fours and will make their 5th final appearance tonight. San Diego State is making their first appearance in both the Final Four and the championship game. I think also they
Never
had
made
never
the
been
Elite
in the Elite Eight, yeah. So today's trivia question is, what school first made it to 5 consecutive Final Fours?
There's multiple choice.
Yeah, it's a multiple choice. Is it A, Kentucky, B, Cincinnati, C, Duke, or D, UCLA?
Well, I'm a North Carolina fan, so I can't say Duke, even though that's may possibly well be the right answer. But I'll go with Kentucky.
No,
We both picked Kentucky
Yeah.
too, but it's actually B, University of Cincinnati.
Really?
Yeah, 1959 through 1963, they had consecutive Final Four.
I would not.
Yeah.
That would have been my last choice. To be honest
Right?
with you.
they were the first team to ever win the basketball championship. I know that.
Really?
They lost to Oregon.
I wouldn't have got that question right either. You
I
got
would.
me twice.
So, actually, I'm going to skip a question here too, because we were talking about all of the things he has
Yeah.
his players do.
Yeah.
And so this came from a parent, a question.
What weather conditions would we have to postpone a game
At Riverdale or anywhere?
anywhere in general?
Oh well,
Because he's like, he
depends where you're
practices
at.
through everything.
We that's one bit, and back to the bonding thing. That's one thing that we really try to stress to the kids is if it's decent outside, and I say decent lightly, we're outside. Last year, we played
practicing in the snow?
We practiced in the snow. We did inter squads in the snow. We practiced once this year in the snow. We actually had games get canceled last year, a few of them early, and we were still outside practicing. We played 3 games that were supposed to be on the road, and we got the field ready and played at home. One was a league game, 2 were non-league games.
Yeah, wasn't there one that it was like there was like almost like a tornado going through?
That was
somewhere.
Bluffton. So we tried to get the Bluffton game in last year, and there was the tornado siren started going off. So we had to go up to the school, and then we made that up a later date. But
do you understand? They played through anything, almost even through a tornado.
The kids love to play ball. I try to teach them, that we're going to be out there no matter what, or somewhere playing ball. You get 3 short months with them, but I don't know that there is. Maybe I think a tornado would probably be the only way that we wouldn't play.
Yeah.
We've got a really good groundskeeper over there who works really well with us and works hard to get the field ready.
Yeah.
Speaking of bad weather, a tornado went through here. And Walpock, we got a bad tornado in
I saw
Finley.
the one that went through Walpock and Etta.
This area, yeah. I know, like over in Upper.
Upper was bad.
There was
And
a lot of
Forest was
lights
bad,
out.
too, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think there is a certain. I don't think there's anything that's going to keep us off the field unless it's underwater.
Okay.
Not unless you have a pipe leak.
Unless we have a pipe leak.
Well, there's no pipes over on your field, I don't think.
Just the underground.
Yeah.
Just the tile. Yeah. But I think last year in Northwest Ohio, I looked through the standings and the year-end records, and I think we were the only team that played all 27
That's
games.
cool.
Yeah.
How does it feel to have Dana Dunbar coaching alongside you?
Well, I played for him, and he instilled a lot of the same things in me, that Coach Davis did as well. He coaches kids tough, but he's the first one that's going to tell you that you're doing something wrong, and mean it, because he expects the best out of you, and he'll be the first one that's giving you a high five, when you do something right.
You can see we got some help with these questions.
Yeah, I see. But he is a great, he was in Vietnam, so he's a very tough-nosed coach, and the kids respond to him well, and I've learned a lot from him. He's probably obviously forgotten more than I've learned. Yeah. So, but from a situational standpoint, fundamental standpoint, from a baseball standpoint, and from a life, standpoint, he just brings a lot of good qualities.
You kind of answered that.
Did you play for him in Legion ball many years?
I did.
What team did you play for with him?
I played for the American Legion Post 3 here in Finley for 3 years for him, in 2009, 2010, 2011.
I love the American Legion.
Yeah,
great organization.
Many games.
I've been to this place.
The actual Legion.
Not the one in Finley,
Legion
the one in
Hall.
Sycamore.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, we already answered that. So
last year, Riverdale baseball set a record for most wins in a season. What is that record?
21.
21 and.
We were 21-7.
That's pretty cool.
Yep. The Final Four team in 1980 won 20. That was a very, very good ball club if anybody was around to watch that team play. But I wasn't yet. I was still 12 years out.
Has there been any high school baseball teams win every game?
I don't know if the teams went undefeated. When I was a senior, Arlington was 26-0. They ended up getting beat in the tournament, but they were undefeated going into the tournament. I don't know if anybody's ever finished undefeated.
How many games do you guys play?
27.
Maybe one of these days you'll break that record and win every game.
Win every game.
You become undefeated.
You'll be on the paper.
Well, that's the plan. Eventually, we've got 2 this year, so we've got a game tonight. So we only need 24 more.
Who are you playing tonight?
We play Macomb. It's our first BBC game.
I think they're going to beat Macomb.
You think so? I hope so.
You'll beat
And you got to beat Van Buren too.
We do. Van Buren will have a tough squad as well. Yeah.
What is your most memorable game as a coach or player?
My most memorable game as a coach or a player. It was pretty special last season when we got to honor Coach Davis at the field. That meant a lot to the community and also our program. So I think that's probably from a coaching standpoint my most memorable one. There's a lot that the kids have done, over the last, the 5 years I've been here. It's hard to just pick one. We've had a lot of good moments, the sectional title and the big one last year with winning 21 games. But that night it was more, than the game of baseball. It was, it was very, family driven, which is what we try to build our team on. And it was nice to be able to give back to Coach's family and the community as well, because he meant so much to them. So
It's crazy how sports can change a community.
yes, absolutely.
If you won the lottery, what would you do with the money?
I'd put turf on our infield. I'd put lights up, and I would build a press box. I'd build a clubhouse, and then whatever money I had left, I'd tell my wife to spend it how she wanted.
I love that question, only because you can tell how dedicated a coach is. Because they'll always go into, I'll put in a weight room for my players, and I'll do yeah, they're really focused on their sport. Yeah. Truly.
I think I would have some left over if I won the Mega Millions right now. Anyways.
I know I'd be doing it.
What would you do with it?
Go to every ballpark in the United States.
That would be cool. Awesome. Is that one of your goals to do?
Yeah. I've been to maybe 8 or 9.
That's more than me. That's impressive. What's your favorite one?
Probably Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Well, he's a Reds fan, so.
But I do like Detroit, too.
Yeah. That's okay. You can like one in the American League.
I don't like Cleveland's that well. Now for the famous final question. Do you consider a hot dog a sandwich?
Absolutely. Yeah, because, when we run out of hot dog buns in the concession stand, we have to use hamburger buns, so
why?
Call it a hot dog sandwich.
It's a hot dog sandwich.
Hot dog sandwich.
Just depends on the bun, I guess.
That's right. Or what you put on it, I suppose, right?
Yeah.
Do you?
And kind of, but kind of.
Yeah, we've heard so many answers to that question that we're all answers are good answers.
Right.
So
It's kind of like bologna, so it kind of is a sandwich.
That's true. That's
a hot dog. Bologna's like a hot dog.
That's right.
Yeah. So thank you for taking a time out with Dustin Sullivan today. It was nice getting to know you, Drew, and we hope everyone else enjoyed getting to know a little bit about you too.
Absolutely.
So.
Yeah. That's all, folks.
Well, thank you for having me. This was
a pleasure.
Awesome. This is cool. I like what you're doing. Hopefully you get a lot of good feedback from other coaches too. So.
Oh yeah.
Just remember, I gave you the hat first, though.
Thank you for joining today's podcast of Take a Timeout with Dustin Sullivan, a production of Can Do Group. This podcast is made possible by the support of local businesses and community members like you. Thank you. Want to be part of the action? You can help Can Do Group continue supporting adults with developmental disabilities by donating at www.candogroup.org.